Paying taxes is an obligation that you owe to the IRS, the nation, and to your fellow countrymen, and finding ways and means to settle back taxes is a very noble thing to do, an act of patriotism, or so they say. There are a lot of reasons why taxes exist, but none would be more essential than saying that taxes is the life source of every nation, its government, and without the money that taxes generates, a nation or country will slowly deteriorate and die a natural death. No one person in their right mind and with common sense would want that to happen. Taxes may seem like they are a burden sometimes, that many would try to find ways to evade it and just deliberately not pay it forward. This would seem like an advantageous and good thing to do for the moment, especially when a person is financially challenged, but sooner or later it will come back and haunt them. Not only will it haunt them, but it will also affect the function of the government. The benefits that it will give, like social welfare and social security, will be affected as well. Tax evasion is a serious offense to make, and if you don't intend to do so, then you need to settle back taxes as soon as possible. Being financially challenged is not easy indeed, especially during these trying times, and when you have a family to support, it can be a headache indeed that you have to face every day. With such challenges, you will find that oftentimes you will come face to face with the choice of paying your taxes or settling to pay it later. Paying your taxes forward at regular and timely intervals will surely eliminate the possibility of being fined for it, much more the possibility of going to court and the mess it creates. But the fact that not all are financially fortunate, as those seen within the top 100 of Wall Street, it could easily be said that there is a huge percentage of the national population who don't or can't pay their taxes on time. This creates a huge amount of back taxes, which will come into the attention of the IRS, or Internal Revenue Service, and when the IRS send you a letter or call your number to remind you of your back taxes, then you will know that you are really in revenue mess that could get even messier if you don't handle or settle back taxes right away. Facing a multitude of taxes in your everyday life is really stressful, coupled with the problem of maintaining a stable way of earning a living will even make it a lot harder. For this reason, you might want to find ways to not create back taxes, which could burden you even more when the time comes. But this is easier said than done, and one way or another most taxpayers will experience back taxes and would sort out help on how to settle back taxes effectively. Of course, every government are not that emotionless as to not understand the hardship of its citizens. Its internal revenue system and agencies will always formulate ways and means for their taxpayers to be able to cope and pay for their taxes, and including back taxes too. With this in mind, government's Internal Revenue Service or agency will inform its taxpayers of certain privileges which they can acquire according to guidelines and criteria depending on the taxpayer's class. Privileges like tax immunity, tax exemption, tax relief, and even privileges that will enable taxpayers to settle back taxes easily and within the range of their means will surely be considered by taxpayers as a great help and salvation for their problems. To have back taxes at certain point of your tax-paying life is unavoidable, and it will become quite a problem when it isn't settled as soon as possible. Back taxes will tend to be looked over by the taxpayer and eventually will accumulate, and accumulated back taxes will catch the eye of the IRS and will often come with a fine that might seem to be out of proportions. Surely no taxpayer would want that to happen. No taxpayer with a sound mind would wait for it to come to that anyway. There are offices, though, either within the Internal Revenue Service or privately owned agencies, which work as a mediator between you and your back taxes. These offices or institutions will help you understand your taxes better and would find ways for you apply for amnesties, exemptions, and reliefs whenever possible for your class. They can greatly help you settle back taxes, which is what you need to alleviate your tax problems. They can also serve as your personal tax secretaries if you need them to. That way you will never have to miss any tax payment. privately owned tax mediators also work closely with the Internal Revenue Service to provide tax settlements, which would be advantageous not only for the taxpayer, but to the government as well. This way it will create a win-win relationship between the two parties. Yes, you will still have to pay your taxes, and these private tax mediators will certainly have fees, but if it can solve your problems to settle back taxes, then it is money spent at its worth. Still, the best way to avoid problems, especially with back taxes, is to pay your taxes promptly. Not only will it eliminate a need to hire someone to help you settle back taxes, but it will also create an opportunity for you to qualify for rebates, tax exemption and tax relief, or tax amnesty. Being a prompt taxpayer surely has its advantages and perks that you will find to enjoy in the long run. Remember always that paying taxes is more than just an obligation that you have to make for your government, but it is also a moral obligation that you owe yourself and your fellow taxpayers.